Good morning and happy Friday. My name is Russ Laggan. I am your host today of the Big Agent Meeting. It is March 29th. The month of March just flew by, and it is also Easter weekend. So happy holidays to those of you that celebrate Easter. Hope you get to have some fun, spend some time with your family, chase some eggs around, and of course, celebrate as you need to for the holiday. So looking forward to this weekend. Hopefully you guys are having fun. And before we get there, though, today is Fire Friday. We're lighting this thing up. Today, we have a show for you that you are going to love. We have got the one and only, the incomparable Jon Cheplak going to be here live chatting with me for a couple minutes. Then we're going to kick over to Bryon, Ellington, Chief Learning Officer. He and I are going to talk about some things coming up. And then he's going to actually have a conversation with Zahide Wallace, buyer's agent extraordinaire, talking about how do you navigate at being a buyer's agent in this market. So today we are on fire. We're rocking and rolling, and we're going to kick it right off and start right off with Jon Cheplak. If you guys don't know Jon Cheplak, this is international coach. This guy is a firecracker, knows his stuff, and he's on the ground in the dirt with us and understands how real estate agents really work. He's got a bunch of really great stuff coming along. So Jon Cheplak, jump on in, brother.
What's happening, man? It's good to be here.
Good morning. So, hey, let's just kick this right off, man. You are on the ground with real estate agents. You're actually still touching real estate agents all the time. What are you seeing in the coaching world these days?
You bet. And it goes from all the way at the very, very highest levels of production to those that may be an individual agent that is a high level production. And then we'll take a look at those who are struggling in both of those areas. And, you know, it was very interesting when I spoke about a year or so ago at a large event a year ago, January, and the whole theme was back to the basics. Yeah. And what I stood up and said is, why'd you ever leave the basics? And so here's what I would say is happening. Those that are doing really, really well are sticking to the core basic fundamentals of business. That's all there. I mean, that's just the whole game. The second piece, though, too, is that they have, in sticking with the core fundamentals of business, I'll give you a great example. An agent on a team netted $1 million. Now, those of you that know how teams are structured, it's in a market that's just getting crushed. I think there's 40,000 agents in this metroplex. Yeah. This agent, you know, they're on a team split. We all know those are 50-50 or less. Right. Net 1 million. We took a look inside, and this organization, which I've coached for a few years, this organization takes role at the live sales meeting in person. They take role at agent training. And I want everyone to hear this. This goes across the board. Sure, I'm sharing a big number with you, okay? But it's relative, okay? It's all relative. Okay. They have online training where people log in. So let's take a look at the sales meeting. You don't need to do that, do you? No. Let's take a look at the training inside the team. Nah, you're good. You're netting $1 million. Let's take a look at the logging on. Nah, you don't need that. This agent on a 40-person team who netted $1 million attended more sales meetings than anyone else on the team by 30%. Logged into, I forgot the other part. Activity in the CRM was greater than everyone else's on the team by 30%. They did everything that you'd think that you don't need. I'm kind of calling you out with love, right?
Yes.
They do the basic core fundamentals of the business. And so that is number one. Here's what I see real quickly is this. I see a lot of people trying to put a roof on a house that isn't framed. And in the previous marketplaces we were in, you could do that. And here's the thing I need you to think about is this, is the consumer dictates what's required by you, you know, whether you've got a coach or you got a branch manager or just yourself or a team leader. Why do they ask me to do this? Why do they ask me to do that? They're just the messenger. So if anyone's asking you to do more or to do things that are uncomfortable or things you didn't have to do, just listen to them, because what they're doing is they're sharing with you based on the behavior of the internet empowered consumer, our buyers and sellers.
Right. So I love the first 2 points. Back to the basics. Like every single time somebody gets engaged with me, I always say, okay, let's talk about your sphere of influence. It's always the highest and best conversion rate if you work it well, right? It's like going back to the basics. I don't think I've ever seen anybody go back to the basics and actually do worse. Have you?
No.
Okay, so
Hey,
going
I've
back,
got a perfect business plan. Ready? Argue with me. Everyone argue with me. Okay, you guys drop everything you're doing. Knock 100 doors tomorrow. Call 100 people tomorrow. Do it again on repeat. Tell me you won't be the top producer. Tell me you won't be.
yeah, agreed. I think that show up part of the game. I think it was so easy to not have to show up, and you're able to be successful unintentionally. Now you have to be successful by being intentional, right? So that showing up, being participating in the basic stuff, even if it's boring as hell, just the process of showing up gets you more engaged, right?
100%.
Gotta love that. So a couple of specifics. If you're saying average agent today, right now, what do they need to do? Let's drop out the 3 things they need to do right now.
Number one is this, and I'll go to foundational pieces because it's still people are shooting past the target. You've heard this before, but you know what? When I inspect people, they don't have it. They haven't taken action. First of all, you need to know what's your vision, where are you going? And the vision, real quickly, you can go look it up, okay? And this isn't about, oh, a big company does this. Human beings do this all the time. And real quickly, my definition of vision is who I am in the future stated in the present tense. Okay, you can call it affirmation, whatever. That's just simple with me. Who I am going to be stated in the present tense. If you're a big team and you're going to close 1,000 transactions and you close 500 now, we are 1,000 transaction team. Number 2 is your mission. And your mission is, what do you do that serves the greater good? What do you do that serves the greater good? Let me give you an example, because here's the thing. What's happening is y'all have consistency issues. It's just, and you hear it over and over again. Your discipline, consistency, commitment. You think you've got a whole bunch of decisions you need to make in a day. Actually, no, you have one decision. And if you can take this away, you'll win. The only decision is this: when you are confronted with an activity, an interaction, human beings, choices that you make, you always have to ask yourself one thing. Does this support my mission? And I'll share mine. Serve, lead, inspire people that want to have a positive life experience as a result of the real estate business. It needs to be embedded in you. It needs to run through your veins so that the times when I don't want to do something, which is always the times that there's something uncomfortable that shows up that'll grow my business, which is always, I always go back to one question. What is the mission?
Yes.
Now, activity-wise, you've got to be a marketer.
Yeah.
Real simple. Be a marketer. You are a marketer. And what do I mean by being a marketer? Let's go back to what Russ was talking about. He was talking about your sphere of influence. Like, listen, everything works. Open houses work. Working Zillow leads work. Working PPC works. Working leads that are 24 to 48 months works really, really well. I see proof of that. But here's the bottom line. You've got to be a marketer. Here's my definition of a marketer. A marketer is someone that talks to their audience every single day, that educates and informs them and gives them so much value that you could tell them not to work with you and they still would. You know, some of the younger folks on here, I'm 57, so I'm a little long in the tooth, so this may not be relevant to them. But see, there was a time back in the day where we had ABC, NBC, and CBS. Okay. And it was and it was free, right? Well, you know what you've got? It's TV. Here's the thing you need to recognize is the entry barrier. Okay. Those walls have come down. You have your ABC, your NBC, your CBS. Okay. And what is that? You've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you got YouTube. They cost nothing, absolutely nothing. So what do you want to do? Then the fourth is your email. Okay. And what you've got to do every single day, I want you to obsess with. Here's the thing. Ask yourself this. Now you've got those channels. Well, I've been to the social media training. Great. So let's go inspect your social media for the last 30 days. And you have implemented on. It's like the people that are the innovators and they don't even have an email program. By the way, that fourth piece, that last channel, because there's a million things, you're overwhelming yourself. Email is the highest ROI. My clients right now are emailing to lists of 60 and 70,000 people every day with 60% open rates. How come? Because it comes back to the premise. I educate, inform my audience. I give them massive value, so much value, okay? Community-based and business-based, okay? You're going to give out that thought leader content, okay? What is the thought leader content? And then what is the community content you're going to give out? And so now what you're doing, if you obsess over, A, what do I do? Talk about the problems people have in the experience around the service that's delivered. What are the problems people have? Okay. What are the solutions? And share results. You guys, winning in marketing and sales 101. See, if you follow these steps and you take action every single day in proactive areas, whether it's calling your sphere of influence, whether it's going out to FISBOs, door knocking, cold call, by the way, they all still work. Okay. Whether it's going into your database, here's the beauty of it. Quite possibly a bulk of the people on this today have a database of hundreds and thousands of people. Like you've got hand raisers. Let me tell you about, I don't know, 1988. And I went to a seminar and they said, knock doors, cold call, FISBO expired. I put on rain gear, an umbrella, and I knocked on doors. Now I had to find hand raisers. Okay. Yeah. So educate and inform, be a marketer. And here's the final piece, be relational, not transactional. You're so worried about what you get back. See, and you quit too early. You know what you've got to do? You've got to worry about what you give. Okay. The law of fair exchange, the law of reciprocity, all these old things still really work. And I'll give you an example. I have a client who is an EXP agent, does 3 million GCI, does not have Zillow, does not have Realtor.com. We turned PPC on, and in a week they said, we've got too much business. Please turn it on. Okay? Because she's following these principles. I've seen emails come back from her database where she sent out a community-based video. Okay. And it was about a community park. We've been watching what you're doing, and we'd really like to work with you. This is someone that had opened 80% of her emails over 3 years, and they did not have a phone number in the database, but she stayed consistent because you're going to hit them on this channel or that channel or that channel. Yeah. And I think it was a $6 million house.
Yeah. Amazing. So I think, let me just make sure we're clear on this. The marketing stuff we're talking about is every day, adding value, connecting daily. And the real result of this, I think, based on what you just said, is like all of that stuff, drive it so you can continue to build that email list. So that's email list is a byproduct of all the other things. It's not the thing.
Right.
And the gold is in the email.
It's money. It is money.
I love that. Like, I love that plan. Look, I mean, dude, we filled up my board in 10 minutes. So I want to make sure, like, you and I could probably do this. And by the way, you and I are going to do this long term. So guys, stay tuned for Big Agent Meetings. Subscribe and like this thing, because I'm going to have Jon back. He's like, I wanted more time. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go, brother. I want you to have more time too, because you and I can do this for hours, right? So let's do this. Let's jump on Reside, okay? Because that's I mean, you're wearing the hat, you're wearing the gear, you got the hoodie.
Never thought I'd be a swag guy.
So EXP is working in a relationship with you, a formal relationship with you for, what is this about? Come on, bring it.
Sure. So in the coaching space, I acknowledge it. I acknowledge it then, and I acknowledge it today. I will never have all the answers. But the one thing that made my coaching community just amazing is not me. It is the brilliance of those around me and me recognizing that. Well, the challenge is people want to coach with me one-on-one, and I still do one-on-one coaching, but I don't have all the answers. And so what I did is I looked at the up and coming, the aspiring team leader, and even larger team leaders too, and said that want all the answers. Because here's the thing, now more than ever, you can't make the wrong turn. It will cost you. And it comes from a lot of information that's been given to people from folks that haven't been there. So what I did is I gathered and said, how can I create something that's affordable and at a higher level of competency and value? Oh, I know how. Grab Preston Guyton, who closed $270 million his second year of a startup with no Realtor.com and no Zillow, a client of mine for 6 years. Grab Nick McLean, an independent in a marketplace of a population of 50,000 and has a 7-figure net income as a team leader and a 20% market share. Brilliant operator. Then I took a third person, Sunita Agarwal, who's closed over $1 billion in sales. What I really took is they are special human beings that are proven, that are tested, but they could fill in all the gaps, and whether it's the automations in your follow-up boss, whether it is in your P&L, we provide accounting for people, whether it is in lead gen, lead follow-up, whether it is in your recruiting, we do agent onboarding. actually for these teams and or aspiring teams. So it is a platform of consulting, coaching, and then the right tech stacks that are proven from the trenches, from a follow-up boss, CRM, with our automations. I don't know about you, but I sure want the automations from someone who closed $1 billion or someone who did 270 million in the second year. And then our exclusive Sierra SEO proprietary websites. So we work with them. We train their agents. We do leadership coaching each week. We do tech and lead conversion, lead generation training. And this is all from true practitioners. It is a community that is a level way above what coaching is, because we bring all of this amazing human resource in, along with the tech from people that are proven. And what we are is we're that person for maybe you're in the messy middle and want to grow, or maybe, we've got some very, very large teams in there that say, listen, we want to plug in the leadership. We want to talk to you, Jon, once a week, because it's a substantial investment to coach with me one-on-one. This way we've leveraged it out, greater brilliance, so we can grow real estate teams.
Fantastic. So basically what you're saying to me is, hey, you want to cook something amazing?
Yeah.
Why don't you use somebody else's recipe? And if you can do it in their kitchen, makes it a heck of a lot easier to have success, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. Hey, I know we've got a slide here so we can actually make sure you guys get some details and some bullets. There's a QR code on there for you guys to be able to connect to Jon directly and figure out all the rest of the details. If what he just said says, hey, I need to talk, this is the kind of guy I want in my life, need in my life, jump on that QR code, grab that thing, open it up, and then just follow the leader, man. It's like the point and click, right? Super easy stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jon, there you go. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate it a bunch. I cannot wait to have you back, and let's go long, right, and get into real detail stuff. I'm excited about that. And good luck with Reside. And guys, click on that QR code and go. Jon, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, y'all.
See ya. All right, there you go. Jon Cheplak. Guys, look at this. Like, what? Here's how you fill the whiteboard in 12 minutes, 14 minutes, right? So good stuff, great stuff. And guys, hey, coming up next, let me drop right in with Bryon Ellington. Bryon Ellington is our next chunk here. Bryon, welcome, brother. How are you?
How are you doing, my pure mish brother?
Dude, like that, you can't put me around a guy like that. I'm already wound up, and then you put me in front of him. Like,
I'm taking notes over here, man. That guy's amazing. Yeah, that's great.
I don't usually hang around those guys because I want to explode when I get done hanging out with them. And that's, it's like having 2 cups of coffee for me, and that's illegal. So anyway, so Bryon, we've got a bunch of stuff with EXP, right? For those of you that don't know, Bryon Ellington, Chief Learning Officer, amazing brain and amazing, you're putting together systems for EXP, which I love. So like, what are we working on right now?
Yeah, man. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been done and what's doing. And, this NAR thing, I think, caught the whole entire industry by surprise, and which is, I'm going to argue, a gift. Right?
Yes.
This is a gift for us. And I'm not being Pollyanna. I do mean a couple of things in particular. This whole thing is going to lead to the outcome that we absolutely have to have signed buyer service agreements, what we at EXP are calling our buyer rep agreement, buyer broker, whatever you like to call it, buyer service agreement, right? Sure. And there's a gift in that. I think I talked last week about it. Gone are the days where we have to worry about FSBOs with our buyers, new homes with our buyers, cousins who are licensed with our buyers, right? That's done. That's done. What a gift. But here's the bigger gift. The rest of the industry is scratching their head right now.
Yeah,
they really are. I mean, I'm hearing it from other agents at other companies. Their brokers are just lost. They don't know how to respond. Meanwhile, we got Leo and Holly 2 weeks ago. Can you believe it was 2 weeks ago that happened? Immediately jump on a call. 45,000 agents are on that call listening to Holly and Leo. And by the way, a lot of them were not EXP agents because we're getting into action. So, by the way, I'm going to give you some things that you can go take away as action items right now, folks, that to go take a look at, get into your business, get out of fear, get into skill, get into action. Okay. First is, I just mentioned it, the Leo Pareja and Holly Maybury video they did unpacking NAR. That's up on our YouTube channel. Go take a look at that. Fantastic video. They really do break it down. Or you can go to our winning buyers training that EXP University got out for you last Friday. Immediately getting into action. We've got great training. That, by the way, is going to be an evolution for you guys. We're going to continue to add to it with great stuff like we're going to do today. We'll continue to add to it. Yeah.
You can find that in the buyer toolkit, right? That's in the buyer toolkit. That video is in there, right? So you can go to Workplace, type in buyer toolkit, and there's a link. And what he's talking about is that process. It's like step by step. By the way, I was in there the other day and I'm like, this is really nice. It's kind of like follow the yellow brick road, just hit the button and then hit the next button and the next button, next button, next button. It walks you through the whole system. I love that.
Yeah, and the EXP marketing team has already put that out again last Friday. In fact, I think our friend Randy behind the scenes is going to drop that into the chat for everybody so you can link directly to it. That toolkit is a dynamic toolkit. It's going to be a resource that continues to grow and get updated as we adapt and evolve as an industry. So, but do go check that out. And that's one of the other action items that I wanted to mention to you all is make sure you're using that. And we'll talk with Zahide a little bit about why you would want to use that. Good. EXP exclusives. Listen, we all want to be able to tell our buyers that EXP will have the largest database of off-market properties coast to coast in this country. We need to be able to claim that as part of our value proposition for buyers. Now, in order for that to be the case, you got to go get it. It's free. Yes. Go get this. It's the Zenlist app, wherever you get your apps, Apple, or if you're one of those Android folks, you can get it wherever you do that. But go get the Zenlist app, register for it. It's free to you as an EXP agent. And anytime you take a listing, make sure you put it in there, whether it's off market or not, put it in there, right? Yeah. Finally, regional rallies. Make sure you're signed up for that. We're bringing amazing content. We're working with amazing agents who are going to be there to share value to you about how to adapt and thrive in this market. And we as EXP are also bringing great training to you as well. So be part of that. It's going to be fun anyways. April, all throughout the month of April. Russ, I think you're going to 5 locations.
I'm all over the place.
You're a road warrior, man. You're a road warrior. I'll be at several myself.
It's my favorite part of the job.
Dude. How can it not be? You get to hang out in a room all day with a bunch of great agents having fun. Yeah. All right. And then, and Russ, here's a shameless plug for you. We are dedicating over the next several weeks and months as we're learning more about the evolution of our industry from some of the latest settlements, but also to what boards are likely to do as a result of that. Our commitment is we're going to bring that to you here. We want to share not only the latest updates, but give you great guidance and training about what to do about that. And we're going to be doing that through BAM. We've got a ton of great folks lined up, agents and team leaders. We're going to be talking about topics, everything from the buyer consultation needs analysis, the buyer consultation presentation of value. Do you have a great value prop for your buyers? If not, make sure you're on here, right? Yep. And on the sell side of things, we're going to talk about things like, hey, the CMA just changed. Whether you know it or not, the CMA just changed, right? Yep. 2 houses of the same value, the same floor plan, the same model. If you're a buyer's agent, one's offering compensation, one's not. How are you going to consult your buyer in terms of an offer? Are you going to offer full price on both? I don't think so. And we need to be able to explain that to our sellers, right? So we're going to be talking about all that and more with some awesome guests. Next week, we've got Lonnie Fisher coming on. And we're going to talk about the buyer consultation and do a fantastic needs analysis.
Every single week, Big Agent Meeting is going to be the resource for you guys to take one more nugget and add it to your business. Remember, Jon Cheplak just said this, back to the basics, show up and engage, and you're going to be just fine. And we got you. Every Friday here, you're going to see me, you're going to see Bryon, you're going to see the group, and we're going to be making sure you got what you need to be successful. Awesome.
All right, brother. This is a skill-based market.
Like let's lead by example. So coming up, let's add Zahide Wallace. She can jump in with you. I'm gonna let you 2 guys take it away for the next section, and then I'll see you at the end.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Zahide, how are you doing? Oh, we're on mute. I don't think that's you. I don't know. Let's see if we can get Zahide off mute. While we're getting her off mute, I'll go ahead and introduce her. Zahide Wallace is the Director of Growth for the FIG team, Veronica Figueroa's team there. And I think we might have temporarily lost her, so we'll get her back in just a second. But Zahide is going to be chatting with us today, and we're going to be talking about setting the buyer consultation. right? So we have, as an industry, gotten used to going out and showing properties with buyers without necessarily doing a great buyer consultation to present our value, to understand their needs, and go forward with that buyer, right? And as a result, we get in situations where buyers maybe use our time, our energy, our efforts, and then go with somebody else, or not at all. And so for us as an industry, we've got to shift, we've got to adapt, we've got to be able to set that buyer consultation. And so Zahide is going to join us here in a moment to talk about how we do that. And if she's not able to, that's okay. We'll go through, and I'll share some thoughts as well. And so while we're waiting for her to go through, let's first talk about the difference between online leads and sphere of influence leads. So here's the thing. There used to be this thing called LP Mama. And those of you who remember this back in the day, we as agents were always trained when a buyer calls up off the sign and says, hey, I want to see this property. We go into the LP Mama formula, right? Location, price, so on and so forth. Do you have an agent? Do you have a mortgage? And the last thing that we do with them, LP Mama, the last A, is set the appointment. Well, what happened to that? Why isn't that necessarily the case these days for us as agents? Well, along came online leads. Gone are the days of those sign calls being the bulk of our leads. Now, a lot of leads are coming to us through online leads. And what do they want? Well, I can tell you what they don't want. They don't want a realtor necessarily. They don't know that they want a realtor yet. What they want is the property. And so for them, there's no relationship there. They're not looking to build a relationship. They want you to let them into a house. And so for us as an industry, what just changed and what's about to take effect in July, by the way, I'd encourage you, don't wait till July. What's about to take effect is that we're not going to be able to open that door until the buyer has signed a buyer representation agreement. Bad news is they don't necessarily know that yet. And so for us, we've got to be able to set up those expectations. We've got to be able to create that relationship very quickly with these folks and set ourselves up for success. And so what happened to us as an industry, going from LP Mama, we went to what's commonly referred to as ALM, appointment, location, motivation. And the idea is simply this. When a buyer calls up, they want to see a property, we set the appointment, immediately give them what they want. Immediately give them what they want. You want to see that home? Great. Would today at 1 or today at 3 work better for you? Fantastic. What's interesting is now we know that they're available at that time, and we're going to build on that in just a second. So the next part of the script in LP Mama is location and motivation. I see that you're calling about this home in Clarksville. Is that the area that you're typically focused on in the search, or are there other areas you're open to as well? We're going to go into that kind of scripting. But here's what's interesting about this. Now that we have the appointment set, now we can be our own best friends and leverage that time because we know that they're available. And now we can start talking to them about the fact that all agents in the area are required to get this buyer service agreement signed before anybody can let you into a home listed on the multiple list service. So, Mr. Buyer, 3 p.m. works for you? Great. So let's make sure that first we need to sign some documents. Before we're able to show you the home, all the agents in the area are going to need you to sign a document. It's called a buyer representation agreement. I'd love to be able to walk you through that before we get to the home, as well as talk to you about some of the other homes that match this criteria that we just talked about. There's a Starbucks right around the corner. Why don't we meet there at 3? Again, we know that they're available at 3. Why don't we meet there at 3, buy you a cup of coffee, and then we'll go see that home. Now we've set ourselves up to have a great conversation about our value. One thing that Zahide and I talked about, and I think she's going to be back here in a second. Hey, there you are.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Thank you so much for fussing with our technology. We really appreciate you putting up with it. Welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you here. So I don't know if you were even able to hear. I was going through our conversation that we had, and we talked about the online lead versus the sphere of influence lead.
Yes.
I talked a little bit about the fact that there was no relationship with those folks, with the online lead. and we talked a little bit about the LP Mama versus the ALM approach that you and I discussed, and setting and closing for that appointment. But I'm curious, what's your take on how to best go about setting this appointment with a buyer? If I'm a buyer and I'm calling you up and I'm saying, hey, I just want this property, I just want to see this home. How are you handling that call?
And I love that you already had the conversation about the difference, right? Because that's one of the things that I think a lot of agents don't really realize. They create the same system as if they're dealing with the same people. The thing that stays the same is the level of professionalism. And, you said it earlier, you said, this is an exciting time, right? We get to up our game. We get to do this in the most professional way that we know how. And so previously, if you were running around and showing homes, just running out the door with no information, no material, and just doing this ad hoc, you can't do that anymore. Now is the time to make sure that you're upping your game professionally. And so if you were calling me, Bryon, and you are an online lead, okay, very important to establish the relationship. Is this an online lead? Or is this somebody that I have a personal relationship with you? And your question is, you give me a call, or I'm calling you back about a property. You were browsing my website and you popped in, right? So we don't have a personal relationship yet. And I have to understand as an agent that, Bryon, if you clicked me, well, guess what? You clicked Bob and Anna and Leo and Lisa and step one, all right, speed to lead. Bryon, I have to call you back immediately, right? That's level of professionalism number one. I'm calling you back right away. And then the second thing, and I love working with even my newer agents and even some of my seasoned agents. I love it when people say, Zahide, I don't love scripts. I don't like scripts. I don't want to do scripts. And I go, you know what? I can prove to you that you're wrong about that, because you do use scripts every single day. And here's what I can promise you is that if you're not using a script from a professional, one that's been vetted, one that works, you will create a terrible script. Okay. So Bryon, you can't see my war room right here, right? Yeah. But this is literally, right? If I'm playing the game properly and I'm doing my phone calls and I'm doing my follow-ups, I have my scripts open and ready to rock and roll. And I'm ready to go, okay? And that's the way that I prepare professionally. So I'm going to give you a call, Bryon. Ready? Ring, ring. Ring, ring. Oh, hello. Bryon, this is Zahide Wallace with eXp Realty. How are you?
Oh, hi. I'm doing fine, thanks. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Well, I'm well, thank you. I'm giving you a call because I received your online request to view the property today, and I'm so happy to set that appointment for you. I wanted to know if 3 o'clock works for you, or if 4 o'clock would be better.
Oh, great. This is the one on Main Street, right? The 65 Main Street. Yeah. How about 3 p.m. today?
3 p.m. is fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to communicate with the sellers to get that set up. And Bryon, I'm not sure if you're aware, but prior to viewing that property, it's now required to have a buyer services agreement in place before we actually get an opportunity to go see it. So wanted to find out if you have about 10 to 15 minutes, we can hop on Zoom right now, or we can meet at the Starbucks. There's actually one on the corner of that street prior to entering the property. Which works better for you?
Well, I mean, if we can meet at the Starbucks, let's just meet at the Starbucks. Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic. Do you enjoy coffee?
Yeah, I do.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to getting you a cup of coffee. We're going to have a quick appointment conversation, and then we'll take off to see the property. Okay?
I love that. Here's the thing. And I in 20 plus years in this business, training agents and being an agent myself, I hear agents say exactly what you said all the time. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. My title is Chief Learning Officer, right? You'd think, oh, he must be a smart guy. No, go ask my wife and my kids. I say dumb stuff all the time when I'm asked questions that I'm not prepared for, right? Now, imagine if the answer to that question had $10,000 writing on it.
Right.
Wouldn't you want to be prepared for that answer?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's how you have to think of it. So yeah, I love that. By the way, you bring scripts to this. This is awesome.
There's no time for and oh, and the problem, I think the biggest problem that agents have is that they don't believe in themselves, right? Yeah. the confidence factor. At the end of the day, and like I mentioned before, we have to sell our value. And if you're not clear about the value that you bring to the table, this is your moment. This is that moment to realize that I'm a professional. I bring massive value, and I'm not going to trip over my script. Bryon, when we sit in person and we discuss this, like a doctor, just like a lawyer, just like anyone else that I'm coming to from a profession that requires contracts, that requires skill set, I'm going to make sure that you are clear that, Bryon, I'm here to take care of you and your family and everyone that you love. Bryon, I understand that you are in a situation right now and that your desire is to move to a different situation. And let me be clear, right? A house, right? But there's a situation that's happening that's causing you, whether it be a fantastic thing in your life or a not so fantastic thing in your life. And as a professional, Bryon, I'm here to take care of you.
That's right. Yeah, try this next time. Next time you're going to your doctor's, ask the receptionist at the front desk, hey, could you grab the doctor for a second? And then tell the doctor, hey, I'm going to let you treat me. And if I like the way you treat me, I'll pay you then. Let's see how that conversation goes, right?
Right.
That's how a professional acts. They expect to be compensated for their services. And I love that you talked about being prepared. You know, my experience is practice leads to mastery, leads to confidence, right? And if you are practicing, my question would be, what are you practicing? Do you have your value proposition? Do you understand that value proposition that you bring to a buyer? Do you have it even documented in a way that you could explain it? And how well can you articulate that value to your buyer? You know, we talked at the top of the call with Russ about getting EXP exclusives and downloading that buyer agency toolkit from the Marketing Center. That's all part of first building that practice that's going to lead to mastery, that's going to lead to confidence. So, Zahide, I'm curious. So we set this appointment, all right? And let me just ask really quickly, are you going, if they say, no, I just want to see the property, any thoughts on how we're going to want to deal with that?
And you know what, Bryon, my buyer, I can respect that. And I would absolutely love to see the property as well. However, the broker requires that we meet in person so that I can help you understand how we work. And I want what's best for you. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this point, you really don't have much of a choice, at least come July. You don't have much of a choice but to stand your ground. And by the way, they're going to have this experience no matter what agent they go talk to. This is required for the agents in your area to be able to show the homes on the MLS. So I love that. So, okay, we've set the appointment. Mm-hmm. Is there anything different that we're going to do now to prepare for the appointment?
Absolutely. And so previously, like I said, you know, before you scramble out the door, whatever happens, you know, we're going to go, do we even have gas in our car? Gosh, I'm not even sure, right? Am I running on time? Who knows?
You spray the Glade in the car, make sure it smells good. Yeah.
Exactly. Who knows, right? But guess what? I want everyone to imagine that the listing appointment and the buyer appointment are one in the same. Right? And so at the end of the day, I'm prepared with my resume. This is a job interview now, guys. We took it for granted that we could just fly by the seat of our pants with buyers. But when it's a listing appointment, oh my gosh, I have to look great and I have to smell good and I have to make sure I'm doing all of the things. Well, guess what? With a buyer, it's going to be the same because, like I said, they called Lisa and Bob and Frank, and they all want to see the same property. Now, even with Sphere, right? Now Sphere is going to be interviewing more. I'm spoiled. 14 years in the business, I can say that, 95% of the time I would convert very easily and very quickly. They know me, they like me, they're going to use me, point blank, period, right? I'm sorry, but I can't make that assumption anymore. I have to make sure that I'm on my A game, that I'm ready to present the buyer agreement in front of them and explain it with a level of confidence that they can understand and help them understand that it doesn't matter who they work with. This is required. And I'm sorry, Mr. Buyer, if you spoke to an agent and they never presented this, is that something that you would want to risk in negotiation in the future?
Yeah. You know, we're seeing boards where you have to have a signed buyer's representation agreement in order to close the deal and get paid. I mean, this is no joke, required. And I love what you said. You know, gone are the days where my preparation for a buyer is just simply calling up the app on my phone for my Supra key, right? we've got to get into this mindset, like you said, of treating those buyers like we treat our sellers and coming in professionally. A question for you: Am I sending that buyer service agreement ahead of time, just saying, "Hey, I'm going to send you this document and just sign it, and I'll pick it up from you when we get to the home"?
I absolutely would not recommend that, right? And it is our obligation, it is our duty to make sure that we are communicating effectively. And I want to make sure to be clear that we are not attorneys. We cannot say, well, this is what this means, right? What we're doing, and I'm literally looking at the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement specifically for Florida. Every state might be different, but in full transparency, Bryon, it's a script, right? It discusses who the parties are. It tells what the terms are. It actually has a space for property location. So Mr. Buyer, Mr. Bryon, right? You want to see this one property today, and I understand that you have choices. My goal is to be the most professional agent that you have ever met in your life. I've enjoyed working with you and your family, and I desire to make your home dreams come true. So that being said, if you want to sign this agreement for this one property today, I completely understand. If you would desire to work with someone else, that is okay with me. Okay.
I'm really glad you said that. So EXP, we put out our buyer service agreement, and that buyer service agreement is an exclusive agreement.
Right.
Now, those of you who've used buyer service agreements in the past, you're probably used to this. It has some sort of term limit of 3 months, 6 months, but it's an exclusive agreement. Whether you see the home with me or not, doesn't matter. If you close on that home, we're getting paid, right? Now, the thing of it is, you need to expect your competition to be creative. You need to expect online listing aggregators that are going to be selling you leads to be creative. And you need to expect that you're going to see 3 varieties of this: the exclusive, a non-exclusive, very similar to open listings, if you've ever seen those in the past, right? And finally, you're going to see what you're talking about: a single use, single property usage of this buyer representation agreement. Meaning, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I get your objections and all. Why don't we just do it for this one home, and we'll go forward from there? Getting that bat, right? Getting the chance to get in person with them and show them what you're worth. And by the way, I'm going to say this: follow your federal, state, and local laws, whatever those may be. And as long as those allow for it, EXP stands behind you. Now, I'm not advocating go for single use. I'm not advocating go for non-exclusive. Go for what you're worth. And what you're worth is an exclusive arrangement that's going to make sure that you get compensated for your time and your energy. However, above all else, as long as you're allowed to, win the buyer however you need to win the buyer.
Exactly.
Got it? So folks, that form that we have out there allows you to modify it. Do if you need to. Again, follow your local laws, but do what you need to win the buyer in those guidelines. All right, Zahide, final thoughts for us about how we need to be adapting and thriving in this market, especially in regards to setting these buyer consultation appointments?
Yes, lean in, right? This is not the time to pull back. And I promise you, I'm hearing from so many different brokerages, companies, it's going to be a mass exodus. Everybody's going to run away. Please, please do not run away. It is time to lean in. And I love all of the resources that EXP has provided. You know, I'm looking at all of the things that we have, and I love how our leadership is responding. They're responding in a massive way. The script that you gave me, it's the funniest thing, Bryon, because in full transparency, guys, he gave it to me yesterday. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly it, right? And again, those people that say, I hate scripts, I don't want to use scripts, I didn't go word for word. All of that was authentic Zahide, right? Yeah. And it was everything that EXP provides. Lean in.
Perfect message. Thank you so much. Love that you came and shared with our agents your hard-won wisdom. We really appreciate you. We appreciate everybody at the FIG team as well.
My pleasure, Bryon. Thank you.
All right. Happy Good Friday. Russ?
Hey, man, that was good, brother. That was good.
She's awesome. She's now you know why she's the director of growth for the FIG team, right?
It like does not surprise me at all. The more she talked, the more I thought, you know, she'd be perfect for that role. She already has. Thank you very much for that, Bryon. Excellent. I love the fact that it's down on just like right at base level right now, and we're going to just keep working into it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys got next week. Who do you have next week coming again?
Lonnie Fisher is going to come, and we're going to talk about that buyer consultation and what that looks like, starting with the needs analysis. It's going to be a great conversation.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Bryon. Appreciate it. So now's your time, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you guys can make sure you're on the list to see this. Before we go, we got one more thing we need to pop out here real quick. By the way, I don't know if you guys heard, Earth Month begins Monday, April 1st. It's only a couple days away. Are you ready to make a difference in the Earth this month? Sign up now for EXP Eco Challenge. Join forces with the Client Action Network and embark on a journey to positively impact our planet. You can join the EXP Realty team and gear up to take on local challenges. They're going to positively affect the local climate change. This Eco Challenge, in collaboration with Drawtown Eco Challenge, is open to all of our incredible agents and staff. Let's come together and show our commitment to sustainability and making a lasting impact on this Earth Month and beyond. This challenge begins April 23rd. Register today and invite others to join the team. And this link is going to be shared in the comments, so you guys can grab that link and be able to see how to connect to that. So Earth Month coming up. There, you guys know every week we ask NPS survey. Let us know how we did on a scale of 1 to 10. Click on this with your phone. Give us feedback. We do read every single one of them. By the way, thank you on occasion. Some of them make me chuckle. So thank you for that. Give us an NPS rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Let us know how we're doing and stay tuned. iConversations coming up next. See you guys, Big Agent Meeting next week.